If you want to save money on your trading card purchases, we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code ATNIGHT to get 5% off your order.
Why?
Hey everybody, welcome to Nexus at Night, your weekly Vanguard podcast. I'm Atlas.
I'm Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
And the reason I did that off camera was for fun. So
all right, fair enough.
You might not know what it is, know what it is, depending if it comes up in the episode. Anyway, so we're going over the two. They revealed two ride lines, one encounter, one new, that we want to talk about because, frankly, I've been waiting on the armor cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! Since 2004, and my wish finally came true, I think.
Sure.
All right. So why don't we look at these things? I guess I'll do it, and then if somebody else wants to, you guys want to split the Vermilion stuff?
Sure.
Sure.
Right. So this is called Silhouette Man. So it looks like if you've seen a picture of Neil Armstrong on the moon, that's kind of what it looks like. If you're for just listeners for this show,
so everyone's just gonna make Among Us memes.
Oh yeah, definitely. That is totally gonna happen. So he's your usual of going Rodon going second, draw one. The grade one Garter Silhouette is when placed on writing Silhouette Man. Search your deck for up to one Machinery Factory, reveal and search it. Add it to your hand and shuffle. So Machinery Factory is a set order. So once again, Brant Gate doing its thing with set orders where it's all kind of coming together. So it's a grade one. Act in order zone. You can rest it. Look at top 7 cards of your deck. Search for up to one amongst them. So I feel like they did that on purpose. That has armed arms in its name.
Sure.
And reveal it. Add it to your hand if you have a card with the same name in your drop zone, and discard it if you don't. If you added it to hand, put this card into soul, and then shuffle. And then the other thing from Order Zone is if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Silhouette in its name, put this card into your soul, choose up to 2 armed arms in different names from your drop zone, and call them to empty rearguard circles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. That's not bad.
Yeah.
This looks completely off base, but like we'll come back and look at this in a bit. So armed arms right. So big glove looking thing. It's a grade 2 with 10k auto on Van or rear. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Silhouette in its name, counterblast 1. Choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards, retire it, and this unit gets plus 5k till end of battle.
Sure.
So real simple, nice and Kagero-like. And then armed arms left is auto on Van or rear when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If you have a Vanguard with Silhouette in the same, counterblast 1, draw 1. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
These kind of remind me of just the Direful dolls, right? Where they're like little dudes that have very simple effects.
Mm-hmm.
Cesar Silhouette is the grade 2 in the ride line. When rode upon by a Gigant Arm Silhouette, choose up to 2 armed arms with different names in their drop zone, call them to empty rears.
So goal early is using the order to dump stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or dump these for ride line.
Sure.
Yeah. I like when a deck goes, you have specific things that you want to dump for ride line. Otherwise, it just kind of feels weird where you're like, I want to keep this. Fuck.
God forbid you have to make a decision.
Yeah. And then Gigant Arm Silhouette, so your grade 3, is auto on Van once per turn at the start of your attack step. Soul Blast 1, choose up to 2 of your rear guards with armed arms in their different names and attach them to this unit. This is where it gets weird. The attached units are moved to Vanguard as stand. They cannot attack. Their power and abilities are given to the unit they're attached to, and they're moved to rear guard at rest at the end of the turn. So we got kind of a Bob Sagra Legion thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then auto on Van at the end of the battle where this unit attacked. Choose up to one of the units attached to this unit. Move it to an empty rear guard as stand.
All right.
I really think we should just start a drinking game every time they make a new boss that just makes a 4th attack.
Does it make a 4th attack?
Well, because you move one of the arms.
It makes a second, right?
Detached. Oh, you mean like...
Or I guess you can... If there's another way... I guess if you attach a back row... Well...
No, so what you do is, like... Because at the start of attack step, so you battle with the arms, then you attach them, then you detach one of them as stand.
I see. So the beginning of his attack step. I understand.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking Magic. My bad.
No, it's okay.
I played Magic for the first time in like years the other day. And
really?
Thinking, oh, yeah.
How was that?
It was fun. I beat people up.
See, I know he means within the realm of Magic, but I'm also imagining him just like literally beating the shit out of people for... cards. Yeah. I lost all of them.
I borrowed White Weenie and I played dudes on the field and they died.
That's good. So yeah, this has like the 4 attacks like intrinsically in him.
I see.
But you need both of those arms. So very.
You don't even need both. You just need one arm. Like nothing about it says that you need 2 arms at any point.
Yeah. So up to.
Choose up to 2. Yeah. Right. Never mind. Different card names. So, but you can't be like right. It's got to be right left if you're gonna do.
So if you have both arms, this thing's just like 33k.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very nice. Yeah. Bustling Mechanic Rodney is a grade 1. Continuous on rearguard. If you have a Vanguard attached this turn, gets plus 10k power.
Sure.
So if he's got an arm stuck on him, plus 10. And then back row, rearguard circle. At the end of battle where your Vanguard was silhouette and its card name attacked a grade 3 or greater opponent's Vanguard, if you have no rearguards in your front row, Soul Blast 1 and stand this unit.
So you restand this and then you detach the arm in front of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then a Q&A about the attached keyword. If I perform Persona Ride this turn and attach the attached arm or the armed arm cards, what will Gigant's arms power be? The armed arms are on Vanguard circles, so their power will increase due to Persona Ride. In this case, Silhouette will have a total of 63k power.
All right. So it counts every unit. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you increase the power of attached armed cards from trigger effects? And in that case, what will the power of Silhouette be? Yes, you can. Silhouette will also gain the same power. So you can be like...
If you hit a front trigger, it's just plus 30k.
Yes. Or you can be like, all right, check, get a crit, put it on the arm, and then move the arm, and it keeps it. Because it's not being called, it's being moved, which is cool. When an armed arms card had its power increase is moved from Van to rear, what happens to the power? Since it's the same unit, the power increase will still be applied.
Wild.
Yeah. Important thing, I'm pretty sure giving the critical to the arms will not let you deal additional damage.
Yeah, I don't think it said it gives its crits, because that would be stupid.
I guess
otherwise
I'm pretty sure that's just the same rule as Legion, as like the grade 3 is like the main body that's attacking, so you apply its critical.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think that would be interesting though, where like if they go, all right, 2 to pass, and you go, okay, crit, I'm going to give all effects to left arm, and the power can still increase, and then I get a front, cool, it breaks through, and then you move the
counterpoint, Brant Gate over trigger.
That too. Oh my god, Brant Gate over trigger.
Yeah. Actually, in that case, it would just
die. They die. That's
no, because you're getting like so you have like 100 million on something, and then you like double both of the arms in addition to the Vanguard, and then you'll like detach whichever one you gave the 100 million to, and it'll still have like double critical.
Yep.
I don't think we're arguing whether or not the Brant Gate over trigger is good.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm just going through.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of going through the line in my head of like, okay, wait, how much power is this gaining right now?
Over triggers are still in the game.
Yep. And the worst part is Festival Collection is them being like, fucking try and stop us now. And you're like, oh, damn it.
Let's just introduce set rotation. We can rotate the OT out.
Yeah, no, for real. So, what do we think of this Among Us sus astronaut thing?
I think this is a really interesting mechanic executed in the most boring way possible, at least as far as the cards we know right now. Like, there will probably be more support, but just the cards that were revealed in this stream that we know of currently is the most boring possible iteration of this deck.
I know this like seems boring to you, but I really love the idea of this where it's Legion and then Unlegion. Like I enjoy
Yeah,
Legion as a
like
format.
I think the mechanic is interesting. I just think like the cards we have so far are boring because it's just like, okay, retire, gets 5k, draw a card. Those are all just like fine standard abilities, and then Silhouette is just like, yeah, just make a 4th attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't even get anything from having like 2 arms attached. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't gain a crit or a drive or guard restrict or like anything. Just like, yeah, just make another attack. Bug it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So it gives their abilities, which means in order to like draw a card, retire rear guard, get 5k, like on attack with your Vanguard, you have to counterblast 2 because you have to pay for each ability separately.
yeah.
Yeah,
And they
VNR
still work on
safety.
rear guard too. So
Yeah, just weird.
yeah.
That's
like-
nice that you can go, all right, swing, draw one,
Yeah.
attach, swing, counterblast again, draw one. So I think you're going to see a lot of use of like Bulbul Mine. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it is a
like,
Brain Gate deck.
yeah,
Mhm.
but I mean, not every Grant Gate deck runs Bulbul
That's
Mine.
true. Now that's true nowadays. Yeah, there was a while there where it's just like, well, you gotta have that card.
But this thing
Not
is
doing anything else.
eating up resources like it's going out of style.
But yeah, like I wish the art, like I assume we're gonna get more support for this deck. I'd like to see arms that do something interesting.
Mhm.
So like, you have like
Where's
the
Big
biggest
Bang,
thing.
Big Bang Blow?
That's the thing, right? Like the interesting thing about this is being able to like attach it and make your Vanguard super big and give it a bunch of different versatile abilities.
Mhm.
So like I'd like to see abilities that benefit your Vanguard being really big. Like basically the same argument I had about Leonore and Mask, where like I hated that it was just the generic stand two things when the main gimmick is like boosting with your whole back row and making your Vanguard huge. Like I wish it got like a crit or an extra drive or like some sort of guard restrict so that being really big mattered.
Right. Yeah, I'm just excited for this, and I know I'm usually the rose-colored glasses of the three of us, but I don't think this is probably not going to win anything. But I just really love the idea of putting it together, and I'm going to do it. So
yeah, I think this looks like a very interesting deck. I just want to see like different arms cards.
Definitely. No, they left the door open for just so much potential. Like they kind of did that with the Direful dolls, where they're like, all right, well, you got your grade 2s and you got your grade 1s, and they all do different stuff. So now they can be like, all right, let's do an arm that, maybe like a more resource thing arm, where it's like after this attacks, soul charge, and then if it's on Vanguard, you can put, or when it's armed, put it in soul, counter charge something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, they could just straight up steal like the burn damage from Bob Saga, right? Just have an arm. Counter. Like if you had two, like at the end of the battle, if your Vanguard had like 2 cards attached to it, just like counterblast 2, retire it, deal a damage.
Yeah, definitely.
Or I like the idea. I like an idea that they introduced in I think it was set 6 and have only really used like once or twice so far, which is like compelled guarding, where you just like force one of your opponent's cards onto the guard circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think because of the whole like 2 arms thing, you could have something interesting where like one of the arms forces your opponent to intercept, and then the other arm is like once per turn. When a card is put on the guard circle, you can like pay a cost your opponent can't guard with the same grade. So you could just like force a grade 1 onto the guard circle and then stop your opponent from calling PGs.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, like that would, I think that would be interesting. Like I just wish they did something more than just like draw, retire, and then make a 4th attack.
Like I know for like it'd be interesting to see more cards that like punish, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have like in Stoichea, you have the Pineapple Cat, which is when it attacks, it gets 10k, and then for every grade on your opponent's board while it's attacking, your opponent can't guard with that grade. So normally they have like a 2 and a 1. And you're like, all right, no 2s, no 1s for this attack. It usually ends up being the killing blow because you're like, all right, no 1s, and they're like, fuck, you put all your crits on that, didn't you? I'm like, yes, I did, and they're dead. So yeah, I would love to see more like punishment or, like you said, compelled guarding. I'm surprised we haven't seen really a lot of like battle door effects these days.
Maybe they decided that people don't like those.
Probably, but also there's just like no good counterplay to it the way
Right.
there is in like premium.
I don't mind like when a singular card has it, like a singular attack, but it's really annoying when it's like, oh, for the turn.
Yeah, that's stupid. I'm saying for like one card, it's not that big of a deal.
I think it's kind of whatever on a single card. So maybe that's kind of the issue. Either way.
Yeah, it turns into this like back and forth where like, do you want it to not really be all that good because you just take the one that's a battle door still, or would you want it to be the whole turn and then that's how you get the piano in Gear Chronicle?
Yeah, like I've mentioned it, I think during the Order episode, like they still design guard restrict, they just haven't been putting them on vanguards. Because we got like the prison card that's a battle door, and then there was that one grade 3 in Bastion that like unless you guard a very specific way, the attack always hits.
Yeah. Which is funny because like the proto battle door still. So battle door refers to the card Battle Door Fighter, which was a Nova Grappler card in early V era. And like a early version of that is there's a Stride for Royal Paladin, which is main phase, you counterblast, flip something, and then it gets red text. When a unit with the Brave ability is attacking, the attack will always hit unless the opponent has 2 or more Guardians. So it's like a weird, like, okay, if you have one card, it's going to hit always.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I'll put a second thing down. You're like, all right, now you're good. It's very strange, but that's kind of what the Bastion thing feels like, where it's not quite Battle Door, but it's almost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, guard restrict is like a part of the game's design, and it feels weird that we only have like 2 cards that do it, and you know. Like, neither of them feel like it was a payoff to anything. Okay, I guess, like, Flagberg, sort of, for making 5 attacks, but, like, Laurel Nerl just kind of has it. Like, you can make her really big with that one song order, but it does just kind of feel like, yeah, just have a guard restrict, and then you have, like, a bunch of different things where the whole thing is making your Vanguard really big, and then they don't have it, and you're like,
It's either that or it's really big and there's no crits. So it doesn't really have a lot of pressure until they're at 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So your mileage may vary, I guess.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting mechanic with a lot of potential. I would just like to see what other support cards for it do.
So let's see. Oh, Hey Yo Pineapple has a cousin. I forgot about this. One of you want to take this, or?
All right, I'll do it. So, Hero Pineapple is a Stoicheia grade 1 AK. This unit is when the attack this unit boosted hits a Vanguard, you can retire it. Choose a grade 2 Blitz order without Regalis piece from your drop zone. Add it to your hand, and then choose 1 card from your hand and discard.
Why is this a minus? You already have to retire it.
This card seems unplayable.
Yeah.
It's
just kind of fun. It is kind of funny that after we did our Order episode, it feels like set 11 is just like the Order set. Because the theme of all the Cycle cards this set is based around different types of orders. And then a lot of the common support cards are also order-based. So that's just kind of funny.
Like, they're trying to make Blitz orders not terrible.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, that's only in, like, Stoicheia, and I guess also Brandgate, because Brandgate has a grade 1 of this that is, like, exactly the same. But, like, all the Keter cards are just based around normal orders, including, like, random commons.
That is strange. Is his cape a picnic blanket?
Yeah,
Awesome.
it seems that way.
Kinda
Yeah,
looks like a
looks that
picnic
way.
blanket. All
But
right.
yeah, that's just the exact same card as the pineapple.
Yep.
Just Brand Gate.
Brand Gate, and then all right, they revealed a encounter ride line for Vermilion.
Yes. We knew this was coming, but we now know what it actually does.
That's
So,
true.
starter does starter things. Red River Dragoon is when it's rode upon by a grade 2 with only Narukami for its clan. Search your deck for Eternal Thunderbolt, which is a new order. Add it to your hand shuffle. And then Rearguard Circle, when it boosts, if you have a grade 3 or greater with only Narukami, Counterblast 1. Bind the back row Rearguard if you did not bind Soul Charge 2.
Okay. Pretty solid. Let's
All right.
want to jump
Back
to
in my
Eternal
day-
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, back in my day, we had to move the back row to the
Front.
front to bind it.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so Eternal Thunderbolt is a normal order. You can play this card from your drop zone, and you can only play it if you have a Vanguard with Vermilion that only has Narukami for a clan. Choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets a continuous ability. When your opponent's rearguard would be retired from Rearguard Circle and was hit by this unit, bind it instead of retiring it. If your opponent has no rear guards, all of your front row rear guards get 5k. Drink. If this card was played from the drop zone, bind it.
Okay. So it's interesting that like you have an order that is instrumental for making this version of the deck work. It kind of reminds me of the Luthier order, except the Luthier order is instrumental in getting you a 4th attack. This is just good.
Yeah. So it just like binds your opponent's cards, and if you happen to board wipe, it gets which shouldn't be that hard. You get like 5k to your front row rear guards. Like it's fine. And you can play it from the drop zone because why not? So you can you can get utility out of the same copy twice. Like so far in my testing list, I'm only playing 3 in the deck because I'm like, all right, well, if each order represents 2 activations, I don't need to find it as often.
Right.
And I get one guaranteed.
Search at turn 1, yeah.
Yeah. And even if I discard it for ride line, it still has value.
Right.
And like how often do you need the like bind everything and the
you probably just want to have it. Plus the the additional 5k from wiping your opponent's board is like pretty helpful. Numbers in this deck are kind of bad.
Okay. It does give it to your entire front row instead of just one thing, so I guess drink 3 times.
No, only twice, only front row rear guards.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting order. Now in regards to the grade 2.
So when it's rode upon by a grade 3 with Narukami for its clan, look at top 7, add a Narukami or Eternal Thunderbolt to your hand. When it's placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have only a Narukami, Soul Charge 1, it gets 5k, drink.
Yep. It's free though, so
yeah.
Very, very nice.
At least it also Soul Charges.
Yeah. Do you like okay, in general, does Narukami have a problem with soul?
This deck does.
Okay. All right.
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay. And then the boy himself.
Yes.
One of you guys take it, yeah.
All right. So, go ahead.
Do you want
Sure.
Matt?
Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion. Act Vanguard once per turn. Counterblast 1. Choose 2 of your units with only Narukami for their clan. And those units get power plus 5,000 until end of turn. Until the end of turn, when this unit would attack, choose 2 of your opponent's rearguard circles, and this unit battles all of the units on the chosen rearguard circles and the Vanguard in 1 attack. So it does the old, hit things. And then in auto, once per turn, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If you played a normal order this turn and your opponent has 4 or less cards in their damage zone, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your opponent's Vanguard, and deal 1 damage.
That's the other reason you play the order every turn.
Yeah, so early on, the order is going to be probably more important to play just because you give yourself the option to put them to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're at 5, they have to guard everything all of a sudden.
Yeah. So I like this card. I think this version of Vermilion is like pretty interesting. It's funny that it gives. I think the original one just gained 5k on itself, so it's funny that it just gives the power to 2 other things now. Although you can still give it to itself.
when you say original one, do you mean the one from like old days or like
Yeah,
V?
old
Okay.
Vanguard.
It was Counterblast 3 gets
Uh-huh.
2K and
Oh, that's
attacks the
right.
front row. It was
That's right.
dog
This was
shit.
back in the day. No, Vermilion was actually meta. I don't know if it was
Barely.
meta on its. I don't know if it was meta on its own or if it needed the blood to be meta, but like it was meta. And then V Vermilion was just a random double R that they only turned into a real archetype like years later.
Yeah, where it was like Counterblast 2, it gets 5K, battles the front row, and then if they have nothing, it gets a crit or something like that.
Yeah, let me
Correct me
see.
if I'm wrong. Yeah. I like that this doesn't have to do specifically the front row. It can be like, all right, do like a weird, upside down V. You can do like a one in front Vanguard and then one in the corner. That kind of thing. And so it's nice to do an L shape. It's nice that you can specifically do that instead of having to be like, all right, I'm going to use Lizard Soldier Riki and make you switch your back row with your front row and then attack or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so if he was like Counterblast 2, 5K and a crit if there are 2 or more in the opponent's front row, or 2 or more rear guards in the opponent's front row, instead of a crit, it just battles the front row.
Okay. All right. That's not that bad. In this case, yeah. So you are tied to using a normal order. Do you use any other orders in your
no
your build? No. Okay. Only Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt is the only order that actually benefits the deck. The rest of them are just like if you retire stuff or they like retire something which doesn't benefit your deck because it's based around binding
and swinging, and not during the main phase for the most
part.
Yeah, so seems pretty solid. I think they made it a lot more cohesive than they have in formats past. And then they also gave him 2 support cards like they have with everything else.
Yes.
So have at it.
All right, so the first one is Rising Phoenix. Has an auto on drop. When either player's card is bound by your card effects during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with only Narukami in their clan, you can Soul Blast 1 and call this card to rear. Classic Phoenix thing. Though they're not the original Phoenix, but at least the new Phoenix.
Yeah. The original one was Soul Blast 2, draw 1 on play.
Yeah, and has a cost. You can retire this unit, choose one of your units, and it gets power plus 5,000.
Okay.
So that's a way to, if you were going to get it back anyway, you can just retire it, give some 5K, then do the thing to call it back.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good.
Yeah, it's neat.
So this is how you get your extra attacks, right?
Yes, just calling this back. Mm-hmm. Not great though, because the numbers kind of suck. But if your opponent's board is empty, it's at least 13K. And you could theoretically save your boosters if you drew them.
Right. Yeah, because I remember the original one was just if you bound something, pop, it comes out of the drop zone. So you'd have turns where you're like swing, attack, bind, and then call 2, and then you have a column, and then swing again. So your mileage may vary. And then last one, Dragonic Death Scythe.
Yeah, the last card we got here, Dragonic Death Scythe, is now a grade 2. As a continuous during your turn, if your opponent has no front row rear guards, it gets power plus 5,000. Classic Narukami shenanigans. Mm-hmm. Auto on rear, when this attacks a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with only Narukami for its clan, you can choose Soul Blast 2, choose one of your opponent's rear guard and bind it. And if you do not bind it, you draw a card.
Okay. So
Soul Blast 2 either bind something or draw a card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you bound a token, you get both, because tokens don't get bound, right?
That could be true. Yeah.
I believe they just poof. They don't get to the bind zone and then poof.
Yeah, so
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that choosing a token and making it go poof, you technically did not bind something, so you get the removal and the draw, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I'm 60% sure that is the case, but someone correct me in the comments, please. But yeah, so you have a Soul Blast 2 off of this. You have a Soul Blast from Rising Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Thunderbolt.
The other two. No, Thunderbolt is completely free. The other, it's just that Soul Blast 3 is already a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So you have the other two to Soul Charge.
Mm-hmm. Does Dragon Empire have any other like Soul Engine cards that I'm forgetting
Not
off the
really.
top of my head? No.
Like a lot of things just Soul Blast, or if they do, it's off of things getting retired, not bound.
Right. Yeah, because like I remember old Narukami cards would be like retire then bind. So
Yeah, but that hasn't been a
Yeah.
thing since V.
nah, yeah, that's
But
been a
yeah.
long time gone.
Like I've been testing. Oh yeah, and then next week we're getting Eva, so all the Eva players can stop whining about Vermilion. Even though I think the deck is really mid.
What
What,
Vermilion?
Yeah. Like I think it's a very interesting card. I'm glad that it does all these different things. Like the order is really cool, being able to cycle it from the drop zone. Being able to like burn your opponent is design space that I feel like they could use more, but they have to be very careful about it.
They do. They always have to be like if they have 5 or less or 4 or less damage, so you don't kill them with it.
I mean, I think that's fine as long as it's like something you can play around. Like VMAX, the burn is like you can burn them for game off of VMAX, but you have to wipe their board.
Right.
I do wish the burn damage was a little more interactive. Just as a like design thing, and in terms of just making gameplay more interesting. Like this is objectively better than if the burn was more interactive, but like I do wish it was like if your Vanguard hit like 2 or more things, you could get the burn.
That would be good. I think
So,
where it
like,
punishes them. Yeah.
Yeah, like it incentivizes your opponent to like guard their rear guards, and then that is a decision that has to be made, which makes the game more interesting overall.
Mhm.
Also
But, like-
forces them to have rear guards already, right?
What?
It also forces them to have rear guards already.
That's true, yeah. But yeah. So as of right now, the deck is just like attack a bunch of things and then call Rising Phoenix, or like bind off of Death Scythe, call Rising Phoenix, whatever. It has hand size problems because the only draw power you have is Dragonic Death Scythe, and it's conditional. And you have to like, and you still have to like commit a board, right? So if you're playing like Thunderbolt, calling like 2 rear guards, let's say, and then you discard a card, that's like 4 cards out of your hand, and you're only getting like 3 back, 2 off of your drive check, 1 off of Death Scythe.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I am looking for ways to make the deck plus more. Like, I think Ethan, the one that's like when your Vanguard's attack hits, you can retire itself. Countercharge 1, draw a card.
This
Just
guy.
like this 9k grade 2 from
Right.
Yeah, like this 9k grade 2 common. I think you kind of have to have that one because it's just like, okay, if you hit and then it like does the thing and then you bring back Rising Phoenix, you still have a rear guard on the board and then you drew a card, so that's technically a +1.
Yeah, like you're not calling over anything. You're just
So like you maintain the same amount of cards on board, but you have 1 additional card in your hand, so that's a plus. And then like drawing off of Death Scythe sometimes if your opponent doesn't have any rear guard. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the deck varies wildly between like, okay, you know, you make like decently good numbers. Death Scythe in particular gets really big, and then you like burn your opponent, so you push them to like 4 or 5 really quickly, and you have an okay sized hand. Or it varies wildly between like, oh, I have no grade 1, so my numbers are complete shit. My opponent's only at like 4 or 5 damage, yeah, but you also have 4 cards in your hand, and there's no possible way you're surviving their turn 4.
Right.
So yeah, it's just kind of like, I think the deck on average is just fine, like it's playable enough, but then like the floor on the deck is really low right now.
What does the rest of the deck look like? You said you've like done some testing aside from Ethan, right?
Yeah. So the build I had right now is just like every Narukami card that was printed, because you kind of have to have them, and then that leaves you with and then if I cut down to 3 Thunderbolt, that gives me like 6 additional cards I can play. So I'm playing like 4 copies of Ethan and then 2 of that grade 3. That's like Soul Blast 1, your opponent binds 3 from drop zone. If they didn't bind 3, it gets 10k.
Oh yeah, as another rear guard.
Yeah, so I'm just playing like 2 of that. It's another rear guard. It's also something that binds, so you can call back Rising Phoenix.
Right. It's why did I think there was like more space, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that is one problem that I have with the encounter ride lines is because a lot of them specify their specific clan. Like,
Mhm.
it's weird because the old ones didn't, right? Like, Phantom Blaster didn't care that much. I don't think. Dragonic Overlord didn't care. Phantom Blaster Overlord only cares about Blaster Dark, so if you just make a bunch of generic Keter support that finds Blaster Dark, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, this, I guess, technically third wave of encounters with, like, Maelstrom, Minerva. Like, Minerva needs to discard specifically a Genesis card, which means you
Right.
care about having some number of Genesis cards. Maelstrom's effect only works on Aqua Force or Tear Dragons, which means you need one of those two attributes. I think
Lukier only
Lukier is
calls
generic.
Pale Moon.
Oh, she only calls Pale Moons?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, all of the encounter ride lines have problems where it's like they care about their specific clan, which means it's really hard to design support for them because, like, if they don't give you new cards of the clan, then the deck is just very stagnant.
Okay.
If you
To clarify, Lukier's effect herself doesn't. Join Me Silverthorn Servants does.
Wow.
For your fourth attack, it's got to be a Pale Moon.
yeah, so like you need to have some number of Pale Moons in your deck, otherwise you're just stuck to 3 attacks, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that means the decks are very stagnant because it's just like, okay, you only had like these specific clan cards that
Mhm.
were introduced in your wave, and even if they introduce new cards that are generic nation cards, like, well, my deck doesn't operate with those.
Right. On the
I
plus
think
side,
there
you
are
have thing like
Mhm.
Rising Dragon, which is like that's a 4 of no matter
Mhm.
what your thing is, it's always going to be good.
Yeah. The nice thing about Vermilion and why I like it a little more than some of the other encounter cards is just like the Narukami restriction doesn't matter as much because it's just giving something 5k.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's still annoying because, like, Ethan is a 9k, and again, the deck has a hard time finding boosters sometimes, so I wish I could just give Ethan the extra 5k so that he could hit something, but at least you can boost it up with Rising Phoenix, question mark?
Mm-hmm. Is there, I'm going to ask this as like the last question for the episode. Is there a ride line you would like to see in the future? Now, it should be noted that all of these ride lines are from like Limit Break.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
before.
they've just kind of been going with, like, the OG Vanguard, so, like,
Mhm.
Started off with Phantom Blaster and Dragonic Overlord, because those are the most iconic ones.
I mean, Vermilion was also incredibly popular too. So it was,
Yeah.
That's true.
We're just here for Alfred slander.
Alfred,
Yeah, 'cause-
look, Alfred was Counterblast 3, 18k column. It's a fine card.
Yeah, but they just, like, skipped straight to MLB. They never introduced the D Alfred.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely just trying to go after nostalgia.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, because they've gone after the nostalgia bucks. So, like, Minerva is the only real outlier as, like, the Misaki card, because that one was all the way into, like, Break Ride era.
yeah, the next other ones would be like Tsukiyomi or something of the sort like that.
I would love to
They
see
do
a
for Conway.
Leopold one, but I'm sure they're never going to do it. Like,
I
Almost
mean,
certainly
the
not.
guy that played
They
it
won't.
was like a minor supporting character. There's like
Yeah,
a possibility that it happens.
if someone does it, I will. I'm trying to think of. I'll drink an entire like thing of beer on
Yeah.
stream or something.
Like, if they're continuing with the trend that we saw with the like first wave of encounters, like the next logical steps would be evolution cards like Glory, Maelstrom, and Vermilion the Blood, because they have PBO and Dote already.
Right.
But also, if that was the case, I would have expected things like Venus Lukier and Glory Maelstrom in this set, which they did not do.
Yeah. Would love to see Venus Lukier, although like the whole point is that she's like fallen, right? Or she's
Yeah,
like,
but
I'm too
in
tired
V,
for
they
this
just-
shit. You know.
In V, they just introduced Venus Lukier anyways.
Yeah, that's fine. Excited
okay.
for Ezel,
Mhm.
mostly because a shout out to Lyrics Mad in our Discord, who makes custom cards like a madman and made an Ezel ride line before they revealed they were doing an Ezel ride line.
Yeah, if I were to go with like the nostalgia train and like vaguely important characters, the next thing I would expect is probably a Dayusha encounter.
True.
God damn, why isn't there a Dayusha by now already?
Yeah, so like
they
if
hate
we're
money.
going down the line of like minor characters that are recognizable enough. The next ones I would expect are things like Amon, now that we apparently have the rights back, and Yusha.
Yeah, there's probably something that we're really forgetting, and I cannot think of what it might be.
Nova Grappler, but I don't know what the heck iconic Nova Grappler card, because Kamui plays like Kamui is the Nova Grappler player. He plays all of the Nova Grappler. He does not have an iconic boss unit because he played literally all of them.
Oh yes, Lyons
Blau
coming
Kluber.
back.
Blau Kluber.
I don't think he ever played Blouse. Actually,
He did for a very short amount of time.
I was like one episode. Fair enough.
Yeah. Blau or I very easily see Bestiades coming back. Azure Dragon.
Yeah, but like which Bestiades? Because he also played all of them.
Azure Dragon, the cool one.
Well, because you do like White Lion and then Starlit Bird, and then I don't know what the grade 2 is.
Imagine they just do Ashura Kaiser.
Why not? Yeah.
Did they not already do Ashura Kaiser? Or am I high?
They did it in V.
Oh, that was V. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what was that like random Nova Grappler TD card?
I'm blanking. Look, so I guess for listener, like what's a ride line you'd want to see? And remember, it's got to be before G, because I don't think they're going to be like, all right, we're coming out with Gaia. Like it's not.
G, they'd probably do more of the stride sets. Like that seems to be their thing.
Yeah.
Like if they were to do G, let's see, we have, okay, the next one's probably Luard if we're doing stride sets. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, they should.
No.
They should just for. I'm tired of Luard too, but I sort of get it for like.
Are you?
Standpoint.
Are you tired of Luard?
Yes.
You don't seem like you're tired of Luard.
There's somebody in my locals who plays Luard, and he's constantly asking me for advice, and I'm not good with Luard, so I'm just kind of like, sure, yeah, okay. Like I just played Ghetto Luard, and then once Belial Owl came out, I was like, I'm done.
Also, I found the Nova Grappler card, Gold Rutile.
Oh, Gold Rutile. I forgot.
Yeah, they should make an encounter of that. Nobody will recognize it.
I completely forgot about Gold Rutile. Wasn't there like a thing where Morikawa plays it for a day or something, and then he gets first in locals or?
He played like a pre-con.
Oh, okay.
And then got first because it was actually like a well put together deck.
Yeah.
And then he came back with like all of his grade 3s again when it was bad.
Yeah. Oh man.
That was the plot line there. So Morikawa is a good pilot but a terrible deck builder.
Yeah.
We all can't you can't have it all sometimes.
There's people like that. I'm somewhere in the middle. I am a medium minus deck builder and a medium plus pilot. So, huzzah. Yeah, so comment section. Encounter ride line you want to see. What did you think of the silhouette and the Vermilion cards? Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a review if you're on Spotify. Thanks to Darren, Cole, Josh, Jeremy, and GR on Ali for being $10 patrons. If you want to help support the show, patreon.com/Nexus at night. Give us a buck, you get access to our Discord. $5 or more, you get a bonus show every week. So, fun stuff. Where can they find the rest of us?
You can find me on Twitter at Wiggums, 2 G's, 2 Z's.
You can find me at Plasma Eclipse.
You can find me at Atlas Novak on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, or YouTube at the Epileptic Comic. But for the rest of those, it's at Atlas Novak. And then, or you can follow my other show, Generation Dan. Two generations talking about topic. This week's episode was about fashion. So me and Dino arguing over whether suits are a good thing for an hour. Fun. And then thanks everybody. And until next time, I was Atlas.
I'm still Matt.
I'm Root Beer.
And have a good night, everybody.